In the beginning, 76% men felt that laundry is only a woman's job. Today, it's down to 25%.
So I think you're only going to stop when it comes to zero.
We have been growing apart for quite some time. It is like...
It's like a silent separation.
Yes, it is like a silent separation.
We believe that this is not just a campaign, but almost a social movement. Because, we've been making an impact socially also year on year since 2015. Especially, and we are in a category which is almost obsessed with a removal of cloth stain. But we believe that we have been removing a cultural stain, right? Which is basically lack of equality in the household when it comes to clothes. And which is why this year our creative strategy was all about making men realize that this unequal sharing of load is negatively impacting not just the women, but the relationship as well. We introduced silent separation, that a woman sort of withdraws emotionally from her husband or from the marriage, but continues to sort of stay with her husband in the house to highlight the problem in the film.
One is the provocation, right? We sort of present a view of society to people which is real, but to keep the conversation going, to keep that sentiment alive, we add a lot more layers, and that includes different touch points. So when we find that the conversation is sort of, ebbing a bit, we introduce a new thing to that conversation. So just as we start with the provocation, we keep amplifying it through all these touch points and PR devices and shareable devices. So that's how we keep it alive through the year. This time, for example, we did a re-matrimonial, right? We recreated that and made it for older people who may be going through their own issues, silent separation. And so there was a renewal of vows, a sort of re-proposal.
Can we start again? Please.
And that was exciting because that created some news. So they were constantly looking at possibilities to create news that keeps the entire idea alive for that period.
And I think another thing that we also sort of do very interestingly is we look for unexpected touch points. So we've also sort of used, wash labels where it says, wash your clothes a certain way.
And then we've added one more wash instruction saying, can be washed by both men and women. And nobody ever thought that's a lovely media point. So it's not that it's such a small media piece, but it's a large change. You never really start thinking, long term. You think about how it works, how the first piece of work works, and then you keep building. It's really how you're connected with the world that lets you know that what you have is, growing in people's minds and hearts. And so when you start, and the way we do it and the way we believe is that we say that content is king, but context is king. Yeah? I truly believe that if you get the context right, if you can sense the world, if you can feel the mood of the nation or the family, you've touched something and connected with something, and then you build from there. I'm not going to tell the world anything. I'm going to start a conversation as a brand.
Now I can hold this pack and tell my husband, Ritesh, share the load.
You're going to be a platform for people to engage and discuss. So the conversation bit is important because when you are part of the conversation, you create sentiment. And when you create sentiment, you create desirability.
I have been thinking. पता नहीं मैंने ऐसा क्या किया.
For us, that starting point of the context and how to sense the context is really about emotional data. It's not big data. So for us, emotional data is important. And we do that through what we call confessions, not insights. Yeah, insights are broad-based. Confessions are personal. And they go into a very deep place. and you say, oh my God, I can never get that in research. And then you realize that in the personal is the universal. Yeah, that everyone actually feels for that thing. And from that comes the idea.